Hello everyone. Today is my lunch video for my summer savings series. It was supposed to come out last week, but the way that I had done the breakfast video was not super well received and it was a lot of work. So instead of just repeating all that work for content that people really weren't interested in, I decided to just take the week and redo my content basically. So now we are going to focus on lunch. And instead of talking about how expensive or costly things are, I'm going to just talk about one thing that I do in my house with every single meal that I plan. And that is figure out how to take the things that I'm buying and use them in more than one way, which is basically what is on this list for lunch. So the place that I want to start is convenience lunches, and I am talking directly about Lunchables. They are convenient. You go in the store, you grab them, but if we're being honest, the stuff in there is not that great. They're not that cheap anymore because nothing is, and they're not very filling. So the DIY Lunchables have become really popular. People buy lunch meat and the cheese, and they cut them up with some crackers. It's way more affordable, definitely more filling. There's more variety, but my problem is we still end up with lunch meat and cheese that gets left over and wasted. So I'll do the Lunchables, I'll try to do meat and cheese sandwiches or like hoagies one day, and then for dinner that night, I'll try to do, sometime that week, I'll do stromboli, because then there's 3 ways that I've used that lunch meat, and it's not gonna go bad then. At least hopefully not. So while we're talking about reusing the same thing multiple ways, tortillas. I get them for Taco Tuesday. I use them for quesadillas. I mean, that is one of my favorite lunches. It's really easy. It's literally 2 tortillas and some shredded cheese, and that's it. And it's great. It takes minutes. A little salsa, perfect. The other thing that we like to do is make tortilla pizzas, because the kids can help. They can make that. It's messy. I'm not going to pretend it's not, but they have fun and it's filling. And you can also make wraps with them, which you could use with some of the meat and cheese that you got for your Lunchables earlier that week. But while we're talking about pizza, the other thing my kids like to make is pizza bagels, which is a pretty affordable lunch as well. And if you have bagels for breakfast, then you're reusing those too, because bagels are also one of those things in my house where I'll get them because I'm really in the mood for a bagel, or somebody in my house is really in the mood for a bagel, and like 2 or 3 of them will get eaten, and then 2 or 3 of them will sit there and they grow mold. So pizza bagels help us avoid that dilemma. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is controversial for some people. Personally, I have nothing against eating leftovers. My husband does not like eating them. I know lots of people that don't like eating leftovers. But if you're not opposed to that, one of the best things that you can actually do is freeze your leftovers, especially soup. It works so good for soup. You know, I'm not always in the mood to eat the soup that I just ate yesterday. I do like to eat leftovers for lunch. I definitely recommend trying to get your kids to eat leftovers for lunch because it's cheap. But if they won't, I like to leave them in the freezer. And then when I'm really not feeling anything in my house, I'll be like, oh my God, I made that soup like 2 weeks ago and it's still in the freezer. And now I'm going to eat it. And you're thankful for it because it's better than the soup out of a can, which is also a very affordable lunch, by the way. Not nearly as affordable as it used to be, but that's literally just everything now. You know, my kids will just pop open a can of cold SpaghettiOs and eat them, but I'm not like that. So in the spirit of leftovers, I do want to also put it out there that saving leftovers to add them to other things is another great way to save money. So earlier I mentioned that one of my favorite things to eat for lunch is a cheese quesadilla. If I have leftover chicken, I am totally going to chop it up and put it in that quesadilla. My daughter likes to chop up leftover chicken and put it in salad. You can put leftover meat on a sandwich. You could put leftover meat in your ramen. I've put leftover vegetables in ramen. You know, ramen noodles are still pretty cheap. They're one of the few things that haven't gone astronomically high in price. And they're kind of boring after a while. But if you have things in your fridge that you can add to them, it definitely changes the flavor profile. So this video I made because I promised to put it out, but the smaller videos I think are just easier for everybody. They're easier for me, they're more convenient to watch, and I can pump those out throughout the week instead of just trying to work on one big long video. So I am doing dessert. That's going to be coming up, and I'm still going to be doing the snack hacks because I've got tons of those as well. I just got something new that I'm really excited to make a video about for dessert. And I am also working on a dinner series because I meal plan, and the way that I meal plan is a little bit complicated, but it's complicated because it's been years of trial and error. And I really want to make the way that I meal plan a little bit easier for me and anybody else who wants to try it. So I'm actually working on a dinner, I don't know exactly what you want to call it, but it's going to be basically an amalgamation of recipes and different things so that when you're meal planning, you can be like, oh, that sounds good, I want to try it. I want to make it sort of like Pinterest, but not like Pinterest, because Pinterest is a lot. It's really hard for me to go on to Pinterest and like just try to type stuff and then you have to like redo your search a million ways. My idea is to make a sheet that is like Excel, where you can just hit sort by, sort by, sort by. So then you can like sort by protein and it'll be chicken or pork or vegetarian, or you can sort by style of food. So like Tex-Mex or Chinese or whatever. I'm working on that. I honestly don't know how long it's going to take. But if there's something else that you want me to look into and talk about, please let me know. If there is something that you know for sure that I do that you want me to talk about and explain, please let me know. I would be really happy to get into the meal planning. Like I said, I'd really like to work on this first. That way when I talk about meal planning, people don't think I'm a crazy person. But yeah, I kind of am. So just let me know if there's something you want to see. And if not, until next time.